I became aware that something extraordinary had taken place. For myself, the method I was following seemed so simple, even childish, that it was almost an embarrassment to talk about it. And it had happened as such a matter of course that I was quite unprepared for the reaction it caused. On one hand, some at the school accused me of having a short-term photographic memory that would fade with time. On the other hand, others pressed me to write up my methods for their benefit. That's exactly what he did, to shorten the story. What is the nature of the method? In essence, Heisig offers an imaginative alphabet, or an alphabet of images, which he intends to be just as rigorous as a phonetic one in restricting each basic element to one basic value. The alphabet is made up of primitive elements, or primitives, the fundamental strokes and combinations of strokes from which all characters are built up. Heisig starts by associating a few of these basic components with images and meanings. These combine to form simple characters, each of which is also associated with an image and a meaning, and which may in turn be used as a component in more complex characters. This procedure is followed with additional components, primitives, being added as they are needed until the most complex characters are built up. I'm going to hand out just a few examples. I don't want to take time with this. We're short on time. These first four show a little bit the sequence that he goes through. I think these first two frames are a little weak. I don't think they're so good. The second two frames show how the previous components have been used. The bottom three stories are just some that I like. He has previously built up to the point where he can use these components. Maybe I could just let somebody. And by the way, this gives such a small idea of what he does because he has a great deal more to this than what you can see, but it gives you an idea. And some of the stories are silly, there's no doubt. There's a lot more that could be said here. I think I'd like to just turn to some questions and objections that maybe could be raised, and a few responses. There are many of these, and I'll just get to a few of them, and incompletely at that. Objection. Mnemonics are too strange, and the people who promote them are strange. Response. Historically, there are cases in which these accusations are certainly true. There's always been a sense that mnemonics might actually be able to help. In the early 1970s, efforts were seriously made to test our intuitions about mnemonics, seriously test them. Today, on the basis of a large accumulation of rigorously conducted studies involving a variety of mnemonic interventions, researcher assessments are very positive. Research into one foreign language vocabulary learning mnemonic called the keyword method, which was brought to prominence, by the way, at Stanford University, has been extraordinarily active. I'd say hundreds of papers on the keyword method. Keyword method is an elaborative strategy, one in which the mental activity involved is that of adding meaningful connections or additions to arbitrary stimuli that need to be learned. If this is done appropriately, according to Levin, memory for those items is greatly improved. In terms of underlying cognitive processes, it has much in common with Heisig's approach to the characters. I won't have time to go through the underlying cognitive processes, but there's a great deal of similarity between the keyword method and Heisig's method. Different perceptual link, but definite cognitive cueing structures that are very similar. But this word from researchers who have worked on the keyword method, the evidence is overwhelming that the use of the keyword method as applied to recall of vocabulary definitions greatly facilitates performance. Keyword effects are pervasive and of impressive magnitude. Many academics currently give mnemonics a status as legitimate strategies for language instruction and language learning. Objection number 2. I think that students should not be told anything about the characters that isn't true. And mnemonic devices are okay as long as they are clearly labeled as such, but why not just tell them the truth about the characters? There's a lot I'd like to say here. Maybe I'll just read one paragraph and leave the rest. It's clear that some teachers of Chinese strongly object to the use of mnemonics that assign meaning to character elements in ways that cannot be justified by etymological knowledge. The principal concern is the attribution of meaning to the phonetic elements of phonetic compounds, but any explanation that inadequately consults etymology in explaining the meaning of a character is open to this criticism. Such explanations have been referred to as